Good morning, everyone. Virgo here. It is July 23rd, 2019. This is going to be a rather exciting video. At least it's exciting to me. And it's exciting because we're going to be taking a look at something that a lot of people have a lot of interest in, and that is Sharon Tracy Gale Bay and the story behind the Moorish Americans that were held up for trial on risking catastrophe and gun charges. And there's a side to this story that we've been talking about and addressing that nobody really has paid a lot of attention to. And as it turns out, the other side of the Sharon Tracy Gale Bay story is very important, and we're going to be looking at that today. Okay, so the first thing is, you all know, I've read this before from the Daily Times, the Delco Times. This is on the delcotimes.com website. I will put it in the description for those of you that would like to read it again. This is reporting on what occurred back in March when Sharon Tracy Gale Bay and who she calls her consort, Decory Christopher Pitts, were arrested. Now, we've been looking at and paying attention to and spending a lot of time on the craziness that goes on the Moorish American Consulate site and channel that Sharon Tracy Gale Bay has to say. But what we haven't done is taken a real close look at her quote-unquote consort. Her consort's name is Decory Christopher Pitts, and I think you guys are going to be real interested in what I have found out. The very first thing we're going to do is take a look at some of the things that Decory Pitts actually has online. Now, there wasn't a lot for me to actually locate here, but enough to kind of give you a sense of what his general feeling is about the world, so on and so forth, through his music. This is on SoundCloud, and I did verify it because this is Decory Pitts' SoundCloud page, but we also have Sharon T. Gale's SoundCloud page, and they happen to both have the same song, one song, which, of course, here we go, is Decory, right here, and the name of the song is Animal House, and it's by the DRN 19023. Now, let me just say this. I'm not going to play the song because I'm not going to infringe copyright, but also I'm not going to infringe upon what some of you may deem as music that may be considered kind of threatening, okay? Some of the words to this song are rather disturbing, and for those of you that would like to actually go and listen to it, I will link it to the description so that you guys can actually take a listen to it. But anyhow, so this is where we are at in terms of information on Decory Pitts personally. Now, we have no idea how long him and Sharon were together. We have no idea what their actual relationship was or is or anything else. What we do know is that they were living together when the police ended up arresting both of them for risking a catastrophe. And how that actually occurred is they had 10 car batteries that were daisy chained together and attached to a propane tank and a generator, because they did not have regular electricity in the house. That is a huge, huge, huge possible catastrophe that could have happened. It could have actually blown the entire block up, and of course, they had children in the house, which makes it even worse. But we already know the majority of what they were arrested for. What I would like to do is actually take a look at the Decory Pitts case and maybe move backwards in time just a bit so that you guys can get a better picture of who we're actually dealing with here. And I say that, and I urge all of you to completely watch this entire video, because I think this might shed some light on what kind of concern we might need to have with regards to the movement and the mobilization that we are seeing Sharon Tracy Gale Bay ramp up. This too will be linked to the description. It is the docket sheet and the court summary report for the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas on DeCorey Christopher Pitts. And what we are doing is we are actually going to take a look at what is current first. What is current was from the exact same arrest date as Sharon's, of course, because they were arrested at the same time. March 25th, 2019. The last action was a trial. The last action of trial was showing on the 15th, which of course we know was continued because they're being apparently tried together. They're awaiting trial, which the next action showing trial is the 19th of August, the same thing that it says on Sharon Tracy Gale's court docket sheet. It looks like the exact or close to the same charges are on here, including conspiracy of recklessly endangering another person. 14 charges, the same as Sharon actually has. So we know that currently they're pretty much sitting in the same place in terms of what they're looking at as far as charges, the time period that the trial is going to be set. The difference that I have been able to find with regards to the 2019 case of both of them is that DeCorey is still sitting in jail, according to everything I've been able to find. If somebody else can find something different, please let me know. But it appears to me that he's still sitting in jail. He has not been able to raise bond. The main reason for that is his bond was originally set at $250,000 because he is an ex-felon. And as a result of his previous charges and what he was accused of in the past, he was not allowed to have a firearm at all. And of course, there were firearms that were found when they stormed the actual Upper Darby home of Sharon Tracy Gale. So that's where we sit right now. But I would like to draw your attention, and we're going to start from the very beginning. So I'm going to go to the very bottom here. The very first court case was actually completed in 1999. Now, I want you to pay attention to the initial charges. And then I'm going to take you through what the court found. But I want you to pay close attention to the initial charges because it's important for the next couple of cases that we'll be going through. So count number 1, murder. Count number 2, carrying firearms, public, street, or place. Count number 3, carrying firearms without a license. And count number 4, possessing instruments of crime, such as a weapon. All right. So, the arrest date was 8/21 of 1999, and the actual trial or ending of the trial was September 7th, 2001. And DeCorey was found not guilty on the murder charge, and the carrying firearms without a license was thrown out, and apparently found not guilty on the other 2 charges in addition. Okay. Now, we are going to be going over the next case, which unfortunately I have to move up here to stop at the top, start at the top. So we have a case from 2003. The arrest date was October 1st, 2003. The actual final court date was May 11th, 2004. Criminal conspiracy endangering. The confinement for that was issued on May 11th, 2004. Minimum of 7 years and 6 months, maximum of 15 years. Possession of a weapon. Minimum 2 years, maximum 5 years. And of course, you can see where the confinement went in. They removed the following: withdrew it, or simply didn't prosecute it. But these are, again, things that were charged initially. Simple assault, terroristic threats with intent to terrorize another, false imprisonment. Now, let me talk to you about that for a second. I don't have the details on this, but I've seen this charge before. You know where I saw this charge before? On a gentleman by the name of Ronnie Davis, who held without allowing to move of her own free will a woman for 3 months in his compound, and they charged him with false imprisonment. That generally means some form of kidnapping or hostage type of scenario. So this is not good at all. Burglary, trespassing, or entering a structure. He pled guilty to criminal conspiracy. He ended up with, and he pled guilty to possession of a weapon. He ended up with the time that you see here under confinement. And let's see, we go back. It's very interesting because this goes back to the 1998 case. Let's see, is this a different arrest date? 2/11/80, excuse me, you guys. I thought I had actually researched this well enough that I could do it without looking. It is a different arrest date. Okay, so here we go. So here's another one from 1998. All right, this is a totally different set of charges. So arrest date was February 11th of 1998, and court was April 6th of 1998. Again, it looks like everything was actually thrown out here. So I don't know if they moved this to another court. I don't know. I don't really understand what happened here. But maybe one of you that deals with this particular kind of court summary can help me to understand why we would have a 2003 case in the middle of the two 1998 cases that appear to have been given confinement time that was issued, but then all other things were dismissed. Okay, but regardless, what we're looking at here, even though, please, if somebody can actually give me that information that understands these court summaries a little bit better than I do for the Upper Darby courts, I would really appreciate it, because this is very odd the way this is set up as far as I can tell. For any of them that I've read, I don't generally see it as sliced up as this is. But anyhow, what I want you to look at is I want you to look at the actual charges. So what we've got here is criminal conspiracy, assault, aggravated assault, recklessly endangering another, terroristic threats, personal robbery, robbery of a motor vehicle, theft by unlawful taking, resisting arrest. And then, of course, we have, the things that he pled guilty to, which were criminal conspiracy, possession of a weapon, and then again, charged down here with some pretty ugly stuff, especially the terroristic threats with intent to terrorize another and false imprisonment. Okay, so let me see if we can find anything else up here. Nope, that's it. That's all they give to us. So, in other words, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack for somebody who isn't used to looking at these court summaries, because I don't understand why you would have, in the middle of all of it, the 2003 charges. But regardless, he has served a lot of time in the past. This is a dangerous individual, very clearly. He is not beyond terroristic threats. There was false imprisonment in there, which means some form of kidnapping or at least some form of holding someone against their will. We have a great deal of information telling us that he has robbery charges that he's pled guilty to. This is a party that very easily would be able to be seen as someone who would be involved in a movement like this that would need to have a careful eye kept on them. What I wanted to do with this video, or what I'm wanting to do with this video, is let you guys know that I know that it's fun and games when you're looking at it from the standpoint of, oh, wow, listen to the craziness that Sharon is saying today. But what you're actually hearing is radical speech. Radical speech turning into racist hate. And we've seen these movements in the past. And these movements quite frequently turn into terroristic activity. Now we see them mobilizing, Sharon mobilizing these individuals into situations where they're getting together between 50 and 100 Sharifian, quote-unquote, officers so that she can take back her supposed domicile, which of course has already been foreclosed on. But her plan is to continue to try to push this movement forward through force. And she's telling you that on open source platform of YouTube. You are sitting and watching the mobilization of a terroristic Black extremist group. And I need for everybody to actually realize that, above and beyond the giggles and chuckles that everybody gets when they're taking a look at her channel and going, okay, that's not the law. Okay, there's no possible way Latin can be your main language because Latin was invented by the Romans and the Romans are Italian now. I mean, what's wrong with you, lady? Yes, that's all fun and entertaining. We know she can't answer any of our questions, honestly, because our questions are actually within law. We know she doesn't have the rights that she claims. We know that El Morocco is not part of America, that a Mexam was always said to have been in Africa. We know that none of it aligns, and she consistently contradicts against her own statements. But see, it doesn't really matter for individuals that are radicalized. What she's doing is she's giving a platform to people like Decory Pitts, who might actually be one of the masterminds of this. We don't know. When you're talking about radicalizing people, it's very easy to get to people who feel as though they've been wronged, who feel that they should have something that they don't. Not just those that have tried and haven't succeeded, but those that don't care to try and feel that the world owes them something. People like Devon Bay come to mind. And when you radicalize those individuals and make them believe that they are godlike, which we all know Sharon Tracy Gale has this God complex, when you provide them with narcissistic supply and you build them up, and then after building them up, you cut them down just enough to make sure they understand that you are still in control. That's what a cult leader does, and that's what Sharon is. She is a cult leader. And what she's doing is radicalizing as many Black Americans as she possibly can. And it doesn't matter to her how many of them storm police departments or sheriff departments and get killed, because those are casualties that in her mind are doing something for what their supposed empire and agenda is. And of course, it won't be in vain in her mind. Not that that would matter anyway to a psychopath, because they really don't give a shit. Make no mistake. We're dealing with dangerous minds. So while everybody's giggling and laughing, keep that in the back of your mind. And if you see something, say something. Meaning, I've already showed you how to fill out the FBI tips report. Pick up the phone and call, even if there are other people doing it. But if you think this isn't serious, let me tell you something. You've got some dangerous criminals behind this, and you have many of these so-called consulates across the nation already. There are thousands of followers just in the one that Sharon heads up. We're not talking about a small group of people here. We're talking about the equivalent, if not more, of the Black Panther Party. We are talking about a group of individuals that needs to be watched carefully. And the more people that say something, and the more people that send tips and emails and fill out the forms online to the FBI and send them copies of the links of the videos, the more pressure it will place on them to be sure that they're watching this group. Because if you think for 1 second that this is LARPing and playing games, it isn't. All right, you guys, I wanted to make sure everybody took a look at this. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.